Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kieko and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Last time I did a video on differences between London and Hong Kong, so if you haven't checked that out, I will put the link somewhere up here. This time I'm going to talk about London and things you must know before moving there. Many people move to London whether it's for business, studies, or a change in scenery. It's a city full of opportunities filled with art, culture, history, and more. According to the World Population Review, there are currently 9.5 million people living in London. I'm here to tell you the things you must know before moving there, coming from a person who was born and raised in London and lived there for over 20 years. People have asked me if London is a good place to live in, if it's expensive, and so on. So I will focus on 4 main points: living, eating, transportation, and shopping. In this episode, I'll focus on living. I might not be able to cover topics in so much detail, so if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Like most places in the world, there are safe areas and dangerous areas. City of London is currently the most dangerous small town in London. Without trying to scare you all, the most common crimes in the City of London are violence and sexual offences, with 1,367 offences during 2021. Just because you move there, it doesn't mean bad things will happen to you, but you should always be vigilant and careful. In terms of living, you can either live in North, East, South, West, or Central London, depending on your individual circumstances and needs. There's Bexley, which is affordable for rent and living, but it's all the way in Zone 6, so if you need to travel to Central London, it can be quite expensive. Camden is full of art and is famous for its markets. Many famous musicians, poets, and notable people have lived in Camden. It's a place known for its hipster vibes and it's in Zone 2, so it's perfect for travel. Richmond has some of the lowest crime rates in London. It's a good place for families to live in because it's near so many reputable schools. If you're a family with children, the place you live should be in the catchment area of the school you want to send your children to. Unless it's a private or grammar school, it may vary. So here's a list of places you can look into: Hampstead, Highgate, Shoreditch, Bethnal Green, Clapham, Greenwich, Brixton, Kensington and Chelsea, Notting Hill, Westminster, and Mayfair. Now let's talk a bit about dangerous areas. Here's a chart showing the areas with high crime. You can see Westminster, Kensington and Chelsea, and Camden are also on this list. Camden has a dense population with around 270,000 residents. It is also a place popular with tourists, therefore theft is its highest crime. Kensington and Chelsea is known as the posh area. Many wealthy people live here, hence there is a lot of theft and burglary. So having a good security system is essential, but to be honest, wherever you live, you should have a good security system.
If you are planning to buy a house, it's good to get a security system which covers not only the front entrance but the side gate and back of the house, as robbers tend to enter from the back. You can easily buy different packages online. It is really loud when it gets set off, so just be careful if your pet accidentally triggers it or you have a Roomba or something. It's not really necessary if you live in an apartment, as you will probably have a concierge downstairs and a secure lift. In the UK, typical burglar alarm installation costs between £125 and £800, depending on whether you want a simple or sophisticated system. And if you want a monitoring system, you would pay around £50 per month. Every house or apartment should have a fire alarm. Some houses have fire alarms in every room. Because of this, they get triggered easily by dust and cooking, so hot pot and indoor barbecue isn't really advised.
Westminster is where Buckingham Palace, Oxford Street, and where a lot of iconic landmarks are. Because of this, there are many thieves and pickpockets, so always keep your bag zipped and hold onto your phone like your life depends on it. Thieves on motorbikes and bicycles tend to target international students, so don't flash your branded items too much. So before, when I was renting rooms in London, I used this website called sparerooms.co.uk. You can filter options and see if any room fits your budget. Whether you want your own studio or you want to share with other people, the price will vary. But I would say it is more expensive to live in zone 1 to 3. You can live further away, but transportation costs will be higher, so it's up to you what you want to spend your money on. Another website which is good is Gumtree.com. It's not only good for finding places to rent or buy, but they sell other things like secondhand cars, and you can even look for jobs. There's plenty of websites for renting, but you have to be careful of scams, so you really need to research properly. The safest option is obviously going through with an estate agent, but it just means it's more expensive, whereas with sparerooms.co.uk you can deal directly with the landlord. There are options for short-term rent, and usually when you rent a room or a place, there will be a holding deposit, which is no more than 1 week's rent, and a tenancy deposit, which is 1 month's rent. Buying is different and varies. It depends on if you're a first-time buyer, but usually you will pay between 5 to 20% deposit. If you're from Hong Kong and planning to move, then yes, rooms in London are a lot bigger, but obviously if you want to live in a place like central London and only pay £600 per month, then your room is probably going to be really small. Yeah, so depending on where you live in London, houses might be smaller, it may be bigger, it just really depends where you live. I'll talk more about cars and parking in my other video. But yeah, if you're not planning to drive or buy a car in London and you're living in an unfurnished house, then you can easily order furniture to the house. We have IKEA, we have Amazon, we have a lot of department stores where you can just order online. Finally, I'll talk about the common utilities. So the common utilities and household bills are council tax, electricity, gas, water, internet, and TV license. If you're renting a room or an apartment, most of the time bills and Wi-Fi are all included. So say for example your rent is £550 per month, the £50 is probably for the bills and utilities. If you buy a property, you will most likely pay a fixed amount for water each year. In 2021, the average gas bill was £48 per month, and for electricity it was £64 per month. This has all increased by 50% this month. So I tried to cover the important things in terms of living, but feel free to ask me more questions. I will do a separate video on tips and eating, transportation and shopping, so stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!